Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second session of our webinar. Yesterday, we had a pretty long day. We discussed about the introduction of the chain of custody process. We looked at a bit of definition on what the chain of custody model looks like. After we covered the management system requirements, which are the basic foundation of a company that wants to apply the PEFC chain of custody process. Then we had an overview on the identification of inputs and declaration of outputs. Then we looked at the due diligence system. So today we are going to discuss the chain of custody methods. But before we do that, let's have a bit of a refresher. So just to refresh our minds on the material claims flow throughout the chain of custody process. Remember, I told you yesterday that the chain of custody process starts by identifying your input, then applying the due diligence system requirements. After now, what we are going to look at today is choosing the chain of custody method that is appropriate for your product. And then after, you can make your declaration and sales, and you have your product group ready. So what exactly goes into the input identification? So we looked at the different claims, the X% PEFC Certified, 100% PEFC Origin, the PEFC controlled sources, SFM, endo-system claim. You can also have recycled material, non-PEFC certified, non-forest and tree-based material. And what about due diligence system? Here you can have PEFC claim material as well as non-PEFC certified material. And I talked about the exception of material that is listed in Appendix 1 and 3 of the CITES. And because they require special legal legislation. And today we are going to look at the chain of custody method. So here we are dealing with material that is either X% PEFC certified, 100% PEFC origin, or PEFC controlled sources material. And on your output declaration or sales, you can have the claims under X% PEFC certified, 100% PEFC origin, or PEFC controlled sources. With that refresher, now let's look at the different chain of custody methods that we have. We have 3 separate chain of custody methods: the physical separation method, the percentage method, and the volume or the credit method. First, I will start with the physical separation method. We will have a short quiz after, led by Huang. And then after our quiz, I will look at the percentage method and the credit method together, because you will see that percentage method has an influence with the credit method. So how do you make a decision on which method to use as a company? It will depend on the material flows and processes of how your products are going to be used. So we are going to look at the physical separation method and how it works, and then the company can make their own decision. So the physical separation method. Here, it's important to pay attention to the keywords noted as highlighted here under the definition. So the physical separation method can be defined as a method of controlling a PEFC claim for a specified PFC product group based on clear identification or separation of different material categories throughout all the activities performed by the organization. The means of separation, as indicated in the definition and also in the standard, are clearly defined. We have 3 separate ways of separation. You need to have separate storage and how that is done. You need to mark or distinguish the product characteristics and also document the production time. So the physical separation method ensures separation at all stages of the processing. So previous suppliers could have used other methods. So it's important as a company to note that. And the simplest method, the physical separation method is the simplest method applied by majority of the organizations. So here you have an example of physical separation by location. So you have to clearly separate the material. So let's assume these are blocks of timber with a clear marking of PFC material, and this is other material. So this is an example of separation by identification. You can clearly see that the material is separated by clear marking, and you can identify that the material is PEFC certified. And documenting the time of when the material has been put in storage. So this is just an example. So how do you separate PEFC certified material? So in this diagram is just to show you, you can have, a company can have different types of material. Those with, for example, within the PEFC chain of custody scope, so 100% PEFC certified, let's assume these are logs. If they're processed to produce timber, they also have to be using the physical separation method. They have to be separated, no mixing, and clearly identified as 100 PEFC certified. And then the same company can have other material which has no PEFC claim. And if they're clearly processed, the result of the timber shall have no PEFC claim. Here is another example where you can have physical separation logs that are processed to produce 100% PEFC certified material. So this needs to be stored separately, whereas the same company can receive material with no PEFC claim, and then it applies the due diligence system and it goes through processing to produce timber. And in the end, you have PEFC controlled sources timber. So this is also another example where you can have a physical separation method. Let's say you receive logs which are 80% PEFC certified as a company, and then you physically store them separately with clear identification. If the material is processed, then in the end you can have 80% PEFC certified timber. So Something else to note under the physical separation method, if you have material with different certified content, then the input of the lowest certified content will be the certified content of the output of the same product group, of course. So assuming you have as input 1 ton of 100% PEFC certified material and 1 ton 70% PEFC certified. So let's say you are using the same material, the same product group to produce table. So the output will be the lowest certified content, which will be 2 tons, 70% PEFC certified. Another example is, let's say you have PEFC certified material and PEFC control sources. So this material can be combined within the same PEFC product group, and the output claim will be 2 tons of PEFC controlled sources. So you take the minimum certified content, which will be PEFC controlled sources in this case. So you do not separate different percentage claims. So for example, you have 100% PEFC certified logs and 80% PEFC certified logs, just to repeat what I've showed you in the previous slide. If you combine them, in the end, you will get 80% PEFC certified timber. And if you have 100% PEFC certified logs, again, combined with PEFC controlled sources logs to produce timber, in the end, you will have PEFC controlled sources timber. So the physical separation method also applies when you're using the claim 100% PEFC origin. So if the material is delivered by a PEFC certified forest owner or manager with the claim 100% PEFC certified, or another PEFC endosystem claim, and also for PEFC certified material that was already delivered with the claim 100% PEFC origin. So if you want to use the 100% PEFC origin claim, you need to apply the physical separation method. For those organizations or companies that implement the percentage or credit method, they can consider this material that is perhaps received from a PEFC certified forest owner or manager as 100% PEFC certified and not 100% PEFC origin, because the company has used percentage or the credit method. So now let's take a short quiz. Here, a PEFC certified company receives pulp, for example, with the claim 70% PEFC certified. The supplying sawmill, or the company that supplied the pulp, used the percentage-based method. Can the pulp mill or the company apply the physical separation method for this pulp? Yes or no? So I will hand over to Huang to guide us through the quiz and the Q&A session.